Hi everyone. I just want to welcome you guys here tonight. I'm Jackie Callison and I am the Mineral County Chamber of Commerce President. And we are here sponsoring this tonight along with the St. Regis Community Council. And I'm just thankful. Look how many people showed up tonight. That's awesome. Yeah. So I just want to welcome, like I said, and have everybody stand. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And Diane will hold the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I'm also here, I get to introduce to you guys the moderator, Drew Hanson. And I have a few things to tell you about him, and then we'll get started. Andrew Hanson, also known as Andy or Drew, is a third-generation Mineral County resident. His family left Superior when he was 12 to pursue careers in education. It was a hard choice to move for all, but the connection with Mineral County remained strong. Andrew graduated high school in Big Fork, Montana, and obtained teaching credentials from the University of Montana. He taught second grade for 8 years before moving on to an education technology specialist and eventually the director of academics success for Salish Kootenai College for 12 years. 2 years ago, and with lots of excitement, Andrew's wife accepted a position as a teacher at Superior Schools. They purchased a home, and just under a year later, he left the college and took a remote instructional design position with Simpson Strong-Tie, a global construction products company, and joined his wife and 2 sons. Andrew still consults with various educational organizations and is president of the Mineral County Rec Club, is a board member of Mineral County Community Foundation, and is a Lions Club member. Andrew is currently an Andrew W. Mellon Fellow, stemming from his work with underserved populations in education. So it is with great respect I introduce to you Drew Hanson.
Thank you very much. It is exciting to be here. Being back in Mineral County is exciting, and being able to participate in this is, it brings a lot of pride for myself just to be a part of it. So thank you for having me. Thank you for asking. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping for how this is going to run. Candidates, thank you for your willingness to participate. The goal is to help voters in Mineral County make more informed decisions when they go to cast their ballots, and hopefully this will get them going in the right direction. I want to lay out the format for tonight. After I introduce each of you, I will read a bio. We'll go group by group, so we'll start with the race for sheriffs. I'll read a bio, and then I'll start asking questions. There's 5 questions total. After each question, you get up to 4 minutes to respond. Some of them you can go more in depth if you'd like. And there is the time limits. We'd like you to respect that for everybody, for us to get through this in a timely manner and to be respectful to the other candidates. So for now, I will go ahead and introduce all of the candidates. And then we will start with the race for Mineral County Sheriff. So in the sheriff's race, we have Ryan Funke. Yep, go ahead. And I'm just going through everybody right now and introducing them. Wayne Cashman. Gretchen Webb. All right. In the race for Mineral County Treasurer, we have Mary Mueller. Jill Betts. And in the House race, or in the race for House District 14, we have Denley Loge. And the other candidate in that race is Randy Mitchell, who is not here tonight. In addition to the candidates who have been mentioned, we have several positions that are running unopposed or appointed. Roman Zylawy, Kellyanne McLeese, clerk and recorder. She is not here, I believe. Kim Taron, justice of the peace. And Deborah Jackson, county attorney. While we're going through the questions, you're invited to write down questions that you may have. We're going to take a 15-minute intermission after we get through these first round of questions. A group of people that are going to select a couple of questions to then follow up with. We ask you to keep them relevant, not get personal in them, and make them questions that all the candidates can answer. So with that, we're going to go ahead and begin. And so we'll start with the sheriff's candidates. I will go ahead and do the bio and then ask a question. And if you'd like to come up here and actually speak from the podium, I'll step back for each question. So we're starting with Ryan. Ryan Funke is 43 years old and was born and raised in Polson, Montana. He has been a Montana resident his entire life. He graduated from Polson High School in 1997, worked as a sales associate and department manager for Walmart for 5 years before deciding to further his passion for golf. And he attended the Professional Golfers Career College in Temecula, California. Continuing to work for Walmart full-time while attending college, he graduated in 2003 with an associate's degree in golf course management. Ryan started his law enforcement career in 2008 as a deputy for Lake County Sheriff's Office. He graduated from the Montana Law Enforcement Academy in 2009. He continued to receive law enforcement training throughout his tenure with the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Ryan learned the true importance of teamwork and as a result earned several life-saving and community awards. He worked for the Lake County Sheriff's Office until 2017. Ryan and his family have been coming to Mineral County for over 25 years to recreate. When he and his wife decided to start their own family, they wanted it to be in a small community. Naturally, they looked at Mineral County. Ryan was hired by the Mineral County Sheriff's Office in February of 2018 after buying a piece of land and several months of building. They finally had their forever home on the river in St. Regis. He was promoted to sergeant of the Mineral County Sheriff's Office approximately 1 year ago. Ryan is also a deputy coroner, field training officer, and search and rescue liaison. He continues to be a patrol deputy as well. Community involvement has always been important to Ryan, so in his spare time he assists with coaching the St. Regis girls basketball team and the St. Regis Tigers golf team. He loves cheering at the local high school games and continues his passion by participating in men's league. Ryan, please take up to 4 minutes at this point to share any additional information about your professional background.
First off, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. I think this is very critical for everybody to know the candidates, and this is a great opportunity for us to speak. And sorry, I'm going to try to hunch over here. I've been in law enforcement since 2008 when I was hired as a deputy sheriff. Like you said, prior to that, I was a professional golfer. I was in a traumatic accident that took my career away, and I had friends ask me to apply for the sheriff's office in Lake County. I was a very shy and reserved individual at that point, but I always liked, community service, helping out people in need, and I figured being a cop and being a deputy would be a good direction to go to. So in Lake County, it's on an Indian reservation, so you work with a lot of agencies. You work with Polson Police, Rhode Island Police Department, Flat Tribal Police, Northwest Drug Task Force. So there's a lot of agencies that need to come together, especially with a lot of crime, a lot of drug crime, to have the common goal of no crime, or minimize that crime and hold people accountable. After 2 years of being employed with the Lake County Sheriff's Office, I was selected by my bosses to attend field training officer training. in Helena, Montana. In 2011, I became a field training officer. Now, why that's important is I was the one who would train our upcoming deputies who got hired like I did in 2008. I would train them in becoming an officer, train them with the surroundings, train them with the way that I was a deputy. I'm a very proactive deputy and have been for the last 13, coming on 14 years. One of the biggest things is community policing and being out in the community, getting to know the people in the community. And I think I've showed that and I've proven that my whole entire career, and especially in Mineral County. I know a lot of faces. I believe a lot of people know my name. I'm out there making contact with people, not arresting everybody, not giving tickets to everybody. Not everybody needs to be arrested. Not everybody needs a ticket. They just need to know that we're there. So just people knowing that we're there makes them maybe not commit a crime or, maybe down the road. So presence is a big thing. I have my basic law enforcement certificate, my intermediate certificate, and I'm applying for my advanced certificate. When I came to Mineral County, I was told, I believe 2 months after I got hired, I had to be a coroner. That was something big for me. It was a big overtaking that I had to make a decision. Do I want to do this? I made the decision to stay here. 2 weeks after I actually got hired here, I got offered a job in Missoula County for $10 more an hour. I didn't take that because this is where I want to be. I want to be here in this community. I want to be a part of this community. I have leadership and management training through the Montana Law Enforcement Academy in Helena. I've also gone through, and I was selected by the Montana Highway Patrol to go through drug recognition expert training, where I completed that in Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Next, for the position of Mineral County Sheriff, we have Wayne Cashman. I'll go ahead and read Wayne's bio. The Cashman family relocated to Montana in 1990 after purchasing the 7-Up Ranch Supper Club in Lincoln, Montana. This was a family venture. Wayne joined the business after the family added a motel to the family's enterprise. Wayne took a job at Montana State Prison to relieve his family's financial burden from the business after a Highway 200 construction project severely curtailed the business in back-to-back summer incomes. In 1996, Wayne accepted a position at the Arizona Department of Corrections and relocated to Casa Grande, Arizona, after the sale of the motel in Lincoln. Wayne transitioned from corrections to sworn law enforcement officer as a patrol deputy with the Pinal County Sheriff's Office in 2000. Wayne's career progression continued when he was promoted to patrol sergeant in 2007. Shortly after his promotion, Wayne was appointed to be the Carlotta, or Central Arizona Regional Law Officer Training Academy. It's a nice acronym. Sergeant for class number 2001 until the class completed the academy and successfully graduated. Wayne was chosen by the Sheriff Paul Babot to run the Sheriff's Office Professional Standards Unit, which consisted of 3 investigators, 2 voice stress analyzers, and 1 polygrapher. Wayne's assignment at Internal Affairs continued until 2011 when he was promoted to Regional Lieutenant. He spent 9 years rotating command in all 4 patrol regions as Patrol Support Commander, where he maintained responsibility over the following units: K-9, Traffic, Motors, Civil, Community Service, Reserve, Explorer, and Fleet Procurement, unit managing procurement budget of $1.5 million. Wayne retired from the Pinal County Sheriff's Office shortly after the loss of his wife of 25 years to cancer. Wayne moved back to Montana in the July of 2020 to be closer to his daughter, granddaughter, and siblings who live in Missoula, Montana. Upon Wayne's return to Montana, he applied for the sheriff-appointed position in August of 2020, but was not selected. Wayne has been the undersheriff since August of 2020 and has been overseeing the day-to-day operations of the patrol and dispatch. He played an integral role in getting Monroe County Detention Center open for business and handling the day-to-day detention operations since the jail reopened in February 2021. And with that, Wayne, I'd like you to take a few minutes, up to 4 minutes, to share any additional information on your professional background.
Very good, thank you. Yep. Hi, folks. I'd like to, echo what Ryan said with welcome and taking your time to come here and listen to us all tell us about ourselves. I was very fortunate in my career that I was identified as an up-and-coming person within the sheriff's office in Pinal County. Not a problem. It happens all the time, and even worse when you're arresting a drunk. So I promoted to sergeant and lieutenant, like he said in the bio, and then I was also afforded many opportunities for many leadership programs. I was selected to go through the Northwest College School of Police and Command. I finished that in 2018. I had gone through the Arizona Leadership Program, another 3-month course, along with several other trainings that enhanced my career. I've had a lot of experience with a lot of different things. Was the incident commander for the Country Music Festival that happens down in Pinal County every year. It's a 4-day music event where a little town not much bigger than Superior turns into a town of 50,000 drunk country music lovers. And worked at everything from as a deputy in the campgrounds to the last 3 years at Pinal County. I was the incident commander running the whole operation. So I bring a wealth of experience that I was very lucky enough to come across, and I had made the decision to leave law enforcement until I got here. And I saw that there was a need for experience and training that I had spent a lifetime, seems like, accruing. So I hopped back into the game. And that's just a little bit about what my experience is, and I'll make room for the next one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wayne. Finally, for the Monroe County Sheriffs, we have Gretchen Webb. Is there any Florida things that I might mispronounce?
Probably.
All right. Gretchen moved to Superior in 2015 after 32 years of law enforcement and retired as a captain from Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office in Florida. She was born in Michigan and in 1970 moved to Florida with her family. During high school, Gretchen became an accomplished tennis player and started her first law enforcement job as part-time dispatcher. She went on to Indian River Community College on a tennis scholarship and continued to work part-time at the Stewart Police Department, receiving her AA degree. Gretchen went on to Florida State University and continued her education. While tennis went by the wayside, rugby took its place. Gretchen never wavered in her love of law enforcement. She received a bachelor's degree in criminology, specializing in criminal law. Gretchen moved to Palm Beach County, Florida, where she became a certified law enforcement officer. She held various assignments in the area of organized crime, racketeering, narcotics investigation, tactical operation, field training, internal affairs, and more. As she was gaining experience and moving up in the ranks, then Sergeant Webb rewrote the field training program. This program became the nationally recognized model for other field training programs to follow. Never wanting to stop growing in knowledge, Gretchen took an additional advanced classes and became an instructor at the police academy in multiple disciplines, including general law and high liability courses. For additional management training, Gretchen was sent to the University of Louisville Southern Police Institute administrative officers courses. From her first promotion to sergeant, then lieutenant, and finally captain, Gretchen has been responsible for writing and managing budgets for each command assignment. supervise sworn civilian personnel, manage and engage in tactical situations, and conduct major investigations. Upon her retirement, she continued to work as an instructor at the Police Academy for an additional 2 years. Now Gretchen is bringing her experience and knowledge and skills to Mineral County. Please welcome Gretchen. And I would like to ask you the same thing. In 4 minutes or less, could you share any additional information on your professional background?
All right, I'm short. You have to give me a minute. I'm doing it this way. I'm not used to standing behind a podium, so I hope you guys don't mind. Yes, I started my career in 1975 and as a young teenager dispatching, and had a lot of experience. It was about the size of what Mineral County is right now. The only difference is we didn't have bulletproof glass, we just had open doors, and anybody could walk through the door, and I got scared several times. I did work as a road patrol deputy for many years, field training officer, and then I went on to organized crime, where I learned smuggling, trafficking, narcotics, all the things that you do in large areas. At that time, racketeering was a big issue in Palm Beach County. We dealt with all the 5 crime families out of New York. They had homes in our county. For those of you who don't know, that county is called an open county. It's where they don't have violence, but they come down to play. It's a perfect place to do surveillance on those families. So after I spent my time in organized crime, and that was all working undercover work, and I also dealt with the biker gangs. I actually enjoyed dealing with the biker gangs. Can you see me in a biker bar? I've often thought about that. I don't fit. But then I went on to become a sergeant. I tested for sergeant. Getting promoted, happiest day and worst day of my life. I had to go back to road patrol to a different area of the county that I'd never worked before. And it was an experience. First time I had supervised a group of men. The men were questioning me since I was the first female sergeant, and I had to prove myself. And sorry to say, I had to prove myself. I probably became a little bit more outspoken, deliberate. Those traits have not gone away, so I apologize right now. After being a sergeant for a little while, they gave me the field training program back and said, here you go. At that time, deliberate indifference, a legal term, case law. I saw where I could be sued, not only the sheriff's office, but myself personally, since I was in charge of the field training program. So I proceeded to rewrite the program. It took me a little bit over a year, and it became the nationally recognized model. And that was comparing it with a whole bunch of other field training programs. That's one thing I'd like to bring here. I also worked with the special response team. For those of you who don't know it, it's the SWAT team. I was the lead negotiator. And hopefully I'm not as nervous when I negotiate, but I am nervous now, I'll admit that. And I had many successful negotiations. I had some unsuccessful negotiations. It's just the way the ball bounces. I also did tactical investigations, which meant following people around. Dignitary protection. I managed and was blessed enough to do Bush 1 and 2, Reagan, and Trump as for dignitary protection. I also worked internal affairs as a watch commander and district commander. And the difference between those two, the watch commander worked and covered the whole ship like you were the sheriff. Palm Beach County, we had, at that time, 11 districts and a minimum of 15 deputies working each district. 30 seconds?
We're done.
Oh, we're done? All right, one more announcement, though. I'm official. I'm a candidate.
Thank you, Gretchen, very much. Okay, so now that we're past the bios, we're going to do just straight questions. There's 4 different questions, again with 4 minutes for each of you. And we're going to go in the same order, and so we'll start with Ryan. What are the primary reasons you are running for this position?
I think we only have 4 questions.
4 questions.
This is number 2.
Oh, excuse me, you're right.
Sorry.
We'll move this again. So the primary reasons I'm running for the position of Sheriff of Mineral County is I've seen a lot of leadership styles, whether it be in law enforcement, whether it be working at Walmart, whether it be working at a nursing home, Pizza Hut, when I was in high school. You see a lot of leadership styles and you attach yourself to one. I'm a lead by example guy. I would not ask, if elected, I would not ask my guys to do anything that I wouldn't be willing to do. I'd be the first one through the door. I'd be the first one backing up my guys. I'd be the first one running out of my house. I've proven that since I've been here in Mineral County. If you guys remember the Spitzer incident at the 50,000 Silver Dollar Bar, Sergeant Sean Smalley with the Montana Highway Patrol contacted me. I was in my bed. I would have pointed at my wife, but I think she's outside with her 2-year-old. I was in bed ready to go to sleep. He called me and said that this guy's shooting at the cops in Idaho and they're coming into Montana. I kissed my wife, buttoned up, got geared up, and I went. No doubt in my mind. I have learned the county, I've learned the people in this county, and before I got on scene, I started making phone calls to the people in that area, letting them know that there's an armed person on the loose and that they should lock their doors, call 911 if they see anybody out of the ordinary or somebody trying to break into their house. That's what I bring. I'm a leader. I don't lead by the office. I lead by example. We need a working sheriff and undersheriff in this county. And I'm going to get you guys involved for a little bit. Anybody in this county thinks that taxpayers can afford 2 or 3 more deputies? Okay. With me as sheriff, you don't have to have 2 or 3 deputies. You're going to have a working sheriff and undersheriff out on the road answering calls. Right now, we work at noon to midnight, 2 to 2 shift. Sometimes when I check on at noon, I have 10 calls pending that I have to weed my way through, or I get called out early. Currently, I'm on call 24 hours a day for 4 days. I don't get paid to be on call, but when I get called, I come out. So my community is important to me, and that's exactly what I'm going to bring to the sheriff's office is leadership. And another big reason is I've had a lot of backing from the community and encouragement. Sorry. I don't know if you guys read the paper, but very encouraging letters wrote about me. I was brought back. I couldn't believe that people write that nice of things about me. It's I'm the cop that gets stuff done. I'm the guy, who has a family. A lot of times I put my job first, and that's, the way I am. But I need to bring, we need to bring stability and hard work and ethic. A work ethic that my dad's passed down. My dad was a city councilman for about 30 years, if not more, in Polson. His dad was a city council for 20 or 30 years. I have that work ethic. I'm going to work my butt off for this county and for the people of this county. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Wayne, I'm going to ask you the same question. What are the primary reasons you are running for this position?
Well, actually, I'm probably as surprised as anybody to be up here actually campaigning for sheriff. I put in for this position when it was an appointment back in August of 2020 after relocating here, and I was not chosen for that position. And I think a lot of that was because of my residency status, relocating back to Montana. I still had ties in Arizona and was just relocating back here. I made a promise to the sheriff when he asked me to be his undersheriff that I would not run against him in the upcoming election. And I did that for a number of reasons, but first and foremost, I did it to be able to build trust between the sheriff and myself. You have to have a level of trust with people that you work with, and we didn't need to underscore that with plotting and planning and who's going to run, and we need to be united to face the problems that we were facing with this agency. And there was a lot of problems with this agency. You guys have seen it. They were buying cars from the highway patrol that were used. Our fleet ranged from 107,000 miles to 232,000 miles. The jail was closed for business. The tasers were out of date. You couldn't find batteries or cartridges for them. Their body cams were not operational for more than an hour or two before they would die and need recharged. So we dove in, the sheriff and I. And first and foremost, we decided to get the jail up and running, and we accomplished that in faster time than I thought we would, but we were fortunate to find good people to man the detention center, and we opened up for business a little over a year after we got here. And that takes trust and knowledge and confidence. And the sheriff waited till the very last minute to withdraw from the race. And I had some soul searching to do, and I decided that I was too invested, too far into this. I had developed a love for the county and the people in it, and that I just wasn't willing to walk away. So I decided that I would enter the race. I went in, I started the day before the last day you can enter, and here I am. And I'm committed to continue the improvement that we started in 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. All right, and last we have Gretchen for this question. What are the primary reasons you're running for this position?
See you again out in front of the podium. When I moved here in 2015, I was bound and determined to stay retired, which is one reason why I probably dragged my feet in putting in my application here. And I watched the county struggle. The jail went up, the jail went down, the jail went up, the jail went down. This really is a huge safety issue in Mineral County, and that became a concern of mine. The other thing, I've watched mishandling of investigations, and I can bring that knowledge here to Mineral County. I can teach that knowledge here to Mineral County. I watch defendants and victims not being given the courtesy. And yes, defendants do need courtesy also, that they deserve in a proper investigation. And this really has disturbed me. I was blessed that Palm Beach County taught me how to do investigations. I was blessed Palm Beach County taught me how to do narcotics investigations. Yes, those investigations have to be adapted for Montana laws. And I have no problem with that. I am bound and determined to do a great job. I have no problem going out on tactical operations. I might be old, but I am stupid. And I will go out there and put myself on the line. I've taught all the high liability courses. They're high liability because quite frankly, I want to make sure everything's done right so Mineral County doesn't get sued and your taxes don't go up. I want to teach general law enforcement and proper field training so that we do not get sued and our taxes go up. I plan to stick with it as long as I have to. I plan to attend the 2-week post police officer standards and training, as it's called here in Montana, to get my certification under Montana. That's an easy course to take. I plan to attend the coroner's course. I've dealt with people, deceased people, in many, many cases. Answer that, please. Let me see here. I think with my knowledge, my managerial experience, I've managed budgets from 10 million and up. I've managed over 150 deputies at one time, and also civilian personnel. And I tell you what, it's the civilian personnel that run an agency, and that's who you really need to take care of also. Every single person in that agency is important, and they need to be brought up to speed. Thank you.
All right, so we just have 2 more questions for the sheriff's candidates in this round. We'll go back to Ryan. Ryan, what local organizations and community involvement do you participate in, and what national memberships do you have?
Hello, it's the mic mover again. So this is a very easy question. As previously stated, I'm very active in our community, so bear with me. I have been a member of Trestle Creek's Golf League for the past 4 years and enjoy the camaraderie and getting away from the job that this presents. I meet a lot of people. I have conversations with them. It helps me in my job. They feel comfortable. I'm very approachable. And that kind of situation is very beneficial for the sheriff's office and for the community. I recently became an assistant basketball coach with the St. Regis Tigers. Go Tigers. So that took, multiple nights out of my time, but I was asked by a coach. I didn't even think about it. I told my wife, hey, this is going to benefit the girls, this is going to benefit the community. Kids need to look at cops the way that hope my son looks at cops. We're people to look up to, and I need to be approachable so I can have a little kid come up to me and say something's going on. That wasn't happening prior to me being here. There was a lot of hurdles, especially in St. Regis, kids running away from the cops, and now kids call me Funk. Everybody can call me Funk. I won't hold it against you. I've also assisted with the St. Regis golf team, as you guys know. As I told you, I was assistant golf professional, and they think I have talent. Chuck will tell you different. I like going out and having a good time with the guys, with the ladies. I've put on multiple junior golf camps at Trestle Creek, and that's for the whole county. People from the West End, people from Alberton, Superior, St. Regis show up. I didn't get paid. I did it free. That's who I am. I'm a search and rescue liaison, and I've raised over $10,000 for Mineral County Search and Rescue. I think you could talk to some search and rescue members, and they will attest to that. I'm not just pulling a number out, it's probably even more. I believe that doing that, it helps our community. If somebody gets lost, our search and rescue didn't have anything. We have broke down stuff. We don't look like search and rescue. I mean, if you saw our search and rescue, you sitting in the audience, you wouldn't tell them apart. But now we're getting coached. We're trying to get organized and look professional. So with search and rescue in mind, we had, holy cow, I need to talk faster. While I was working one night, we had an incident up on the state line where there was a 911 call. This lady was running out of oxygen. She depended on oxygen 24/7. It was in the wintertime. They took the wrong road. They were stuck in a snowbank. It's raining, it's snowy, it's cold and wet. So I made a decision to use my own truck, use my own trailer, use my own side-by-side. I grabbed a search and rescue member, my own gas, and about 6 hours of my own time. We used to come along, we got wet, it was nasty, I aired up tires, we got them out safe. She didn't die because she didn't have oxygen. I did that because that's me. Also coordinated Christmas gifts for St. Regis in 2019 as kind of a peninsula thing where I live. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, Wayne, same question to you. What local organizations and community involvement do you participate in, and what national memberships do you have?
Well, I'm not going to take as much time as Ryan because I'm fairly new here and I've been focused more on the job at hand at work. I can tell you I'm a member of the NSA in good standing and not the National Security Administration, National Sheriff's Association. Also, I'm a card-carrying member of the NRA. And my plans are to get more involved in the county, but as of since the 18 months I've been here, I've not had that much time. So, thank you.
All right, Gretchen, we're back to you. What local organizations, community involvement do you participate in, or national memberships do you have?
This one's going to be short too, but I still can't see over this podium. All right, there should be a law that podiums need to be a little shorter for people who are my size. Amen. Or a step stool, yeah. This is going to be short. I'm PADI certified. I'm an instructor through the PADI dive instructor. I belong to the USCCA, which is the United States Carry Concealed Weapons Association. IAWP, International Association of Women Police. I'm a lifetime member with them. I do help and volunteer when I'm needed or asked for by friends. Currently this week, I'm a little tired, and I'll admit that. Jackie's got me running around town delivering her flowers, but I get coffee out of it, so maybe that's not volunteering, I don't know. I also help with the Helpline Bazaar, help set up, take down, whatever they need, and if they need a second person to come running, just for safety and security reasons, I'll show up, or pick them up and take them wherever it's necessary. Everyone knows about the helpline here, I hope, which helps people just, exactly what it says, helpline. You see, I also, sometimes if they need extra help at the senior center in St. Regis, I love to do dishes. Don't ask me to cook, but I'll do the dishes. That is who I am. I will help anybody who calls me, and I will be there for them. Thank you.
All right, and we're to the last question for the Mineral County Sheriff's Race candidates. Ryan, what do you feel is the most important problems in your office, and how do you plan on solving them?
Hello, here I am again. So I think I touched on some of this, and I think they're trying to speed this up a little bit. So leadership is one of the biggest problems, is lead by example. We need a sheriff and undersheriff who are going to get out and take calls and help us. I've been working weird, crazy hours, 40, 50 hours for the last 2 or 3 months. I get called out a couple, 2 or 3 times a week at odd hours. We need somebody who's gonna jump in and take a little bit of pressure off us. We've been shorthanded since I've been here. When I got hired, there was 4 deputies here. Now there's going to be 6. So there's no need for the sheriff and undersheriff to be in the office for 40 hours a week. We need to be out working. We need to be out meeting our community members and finding out what the community members' needs are. Employee retention is also another giant thing. I've been here for 4.5 years. And by golly, I'm the longest lasting employee of the sheriff's office. Sad, very sad. You look at a deputy's training just to go to the Montana Law Enforcement Academy is over $10,000. And then you look at all the training in-house as far as field training. You guys have heard a lot about training. I am not denying the fact that we need training. I will take all the training I get, but when you don't have people working, you can't train. That's just brass tacks, guys. There's no person to fill my shift. I can't go train. We have a guy on vacation. I'm the only patrol car in the county, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You should feel safe because it's me. But it's just, if you don't have the manpower, you can't train. I think everybody in this room can attest to that. Everybody in this room can admit to that. If I'm elected sheriff, I will do my darndest. She's got training. I mean, she's a trainer. I want her working for me at least as a reserve, because I think she's valuable to this office. Okay, but I'm valuable to lead this office because I think I can lead this office. Another thing is equal treatment. I became a patrol sergeant over a year ago, and I bet nobody saw any recognition or anything for me. I asked for it. I asked for it and I asked for it. My wife wanted the pinstripes on my collar. Never happened. Okay? I think Gretchen can talk. I think Cashman can talk about, how that hits you inside. I don't let it affect me. I work above and beyond. I bust my butt whether I get recognition or not. But a little good job goes a long ways. For people who've had employees, you say good job, you get more work, you get harder work, you get more dedicated employees. Thank you.
All right, Wayne, what are the most important problems in your office, and how do you plan on solving them?
Thank you. I concur with Ryan on retention and recruitment of staffing. He and I differ on the roles of undersheriff and sheriff. There's a lot of administrative stuff that goes on out of the scene. There's funding issues, there's bills that need to be paid, there's equipment that needs to be researched. I don't hang out in the office because I like sitting behind a desk for 40 hours a week. I'm sitting in that office making sure things are getting done, bills are getting paid, jails are getting opened and remaining open. But by far, the biggest problem we're faced with is the recruitment and retention of our staff. From dispatchers to detention officers to the deputies. It's not a fun and games business. You've seen what the press has done to law enforcement across the country. We're very fortunate we don't find that here, but I've seen it. We've had a dispatcher position open for over 6 months now. We've run ads online, in paper, on Facebook, and still we don't get applications. Our demographics are such where we're turning into a retirement community, so we have a lot of folks that come here to retire but don't want to work, and that's fine. And then on top of it all, when you do find quality help, Missoula is just an hour away, and they're offering a lot more money than we can pony up. So, one of the things that Ryan hit on, and he's correct, is that we need to become better at acknowledging our staff, training our staff, and some of the comments that were made tonight, I kind of take exception with, but that's for another time. I mean, the scheduling we left to the deputies. So if he's working long hours and is being called out, it's because it's a schedule they're working. We can go to 8-hour schedules and cover where everybody can get off, and they get 2 days a week off. They chose to work the shift they're on, where they're working 12-hour shifts, and that leaves holes. But it was their choice because we're trying to keep and retain quality help. So, thank you.
All right, Gretchen.
I'm ready. I agree with both Ryan and Wayne in a lot of respects. Mineral County does have a problem with management and retention, recruitment. Most of all, I'm going to address, we need to have more community involvement. So we need to get out there as deputy sheriffs and as the sheriff and get involved in the community and bring you in and let you know what's happening within the sheriff's office. It's just is not who works for the sheriff's office can handle what's going on here. The role of the sheriff is a manager. Yes, they have to have experience in tactical operations. Yes, they need to respond to major incidents like the one they had on the West End. They need to respond to any case that is, what do you want to say? It's like a high incident where everyone's going to know what's going on, so that they have a good understanding what's going on in their office. They need to be trained in investigations. They need to be trained in management, all of which I have is management training. And they sent me off to school so that I become a better manager. And I'm very happy. Louisville, Kentucky was a very nice place to visit in the fall. And I saw snow for the first time in almost 15 years. I would like to disagree with both Ryan and Wayne on their description of what else needs to happen here in Mineral County. But now it's time for experience. Trial and error will not do it. And what I've been seeing here, yes, they are good support people in the sheriff's office, but I do have the experience to manage an agency of this size. Thank you.
That concludes the Mineral County Sheriff's portion. I want to thank the candidates that came. In a recent conversation, I realized that the sheriff that is elected is going to be leading the Mineral County Police Department, while my boys are entering into high school and going to be in high school. So that's adds a whole different element to listening to this. And yeah, for good or bad, they're good boys most of the time. But anyways, thank you again. We're going to move on to the Mineral County Treasurer race. We're going to change the format a little bit to kind of speed things up. I'm going to ask all the questions to one candidate while they're up here, so we're not switching back and forth. But I'll start with the bios first, and that follow-up question to the bios. All right, our first candidate for Mineral County Treasurer is Mary Mueller. Mary Mueller grew up in the Missoula area. Mary and Mike chose to move to Mineral County 30 years ago to raise a family because of all of Mineral County, what Mineral County has to offer. The 3 biological children graciously welcomed the 3 foster adopted children, the first 2 in 2004 and then again in 2008. They have raised them from infants and have blessed their lives. Mary has welcomed partners of her 3 oldest children and is proud to welcome 2 grandchildren. Mary has always had a knack for numbers. After a few college accounting classes, she began a long career in bookkeeping. Her knowledge was obtained by offering to help coworkers with their work. This ambition progressed from her secretarial, AR, AP, and payroll duties in many industries, including construction, trucking, paper and pulp mills, lumber yards, and bark plants, to name a few. Mary landed a 16-year job at the school district, adding governmental accounting and county election administrative duties. Her audits were clean every year with no findings. Mary has always worked multiple jobs, usually 40 hours per week, and additional jobs in the service industry, totaling 60 to 70 hours a week. Mary works in the service industry and has always been exceptional due to the fact that she doesn't judge people. She's trusting and gives everyone a chance. Her hobbies include attending their children's sports activities, hunting, gardening, to provide for the family, quilting and reading history books, softball, golfing, and playing at the lake. So with that, Mary, could you please take up to 4 minutes to share any additional information on your professional background?
I prefer to hide behind the podium. So my experience, again, I've been asked to go and work, fill in at the bark plant, work with individual people's businesses, private businesses. My 16 years at the school district correlates with the job at the superintendent level, superintendent of schools, because the school districts balance their books with the county. So I did that for 15 years. I was part of the Montana School Business Officials Association. So a lot of the forms and stuff that we had to do for transportation, all of that, I would report and then report it to Mary Arnold for her to officially report it further on. So I have a lot of experience in balancing the books from the other end and understanding from the school's portion. And now I am excited to do it from the other end, be able to balance with each of the districts from the treasurer's or from the superintendent's office. As far as work in the treasurer's office with property taxes, mobile home taxes, vehicle registrations, I love people, and I've gotten a lot of compliments, and I just treat everyone the same, and I think it's very important. I do agree with someone that said that the happier you are with the customers are going to be happy. The nicer you are in complimenting the people that you work with and the other offices, everyone's going to be happier. Everyone's going to want to be there, and everyone's going to work more cohesively. And that's my experience. Thanks.
All right. Our next candidate for the Mineral County Treasurer is Jill Betts. Jill Betts was born in 1980 in Missoula, Montana, the only child of Ed Heppy. She grew up right here in Mineral County, Superior specifically, and graduated from high school here. She attended college in Jamestown, North Dakota, where she worked towards a bachelor's degree in business management and information technology. Then began a long career with Walmart, where she'd hold many different high-level positions with the organization. This is where she met her husband Guy in June of 2005 and got married in February 2006. They have 2 kids, Eddie and Quentin. Walmart offered so many opportunities that took them to many different places around the U.S. In 2014, she took a store manager position where she would solely manage an $80 million budget and a 300 plus associates for 6 years. In 2020, as a family, they decided that a work-life balance and family experiences were what they needed, so they decided to take a leap and move back to Mineral County. Jill took a tax and title clerk position in the Mineral County Treasurer's Office and also works as the Ace Hardware Manager at Arlo's Quality Foods. They chose Superior for all that it has to offer recreationally, which is something they enjoy when they used to take their yearly vacations here. They were also ready for the smaller town setting and, of course, the people. When Jill is not working, she enjoys fishing, going to sporting events, floating the river, and playing cornhole. Should Jill be elected treasurer superintendent of schools, she is committed to serving the community in this capacity, using her experiences and knowledge to manage the county and school finances. She looks forward to working with other elected officials and making this a wonderful place, like where she grew up, the wonderful place where she grew up, better for all. So with that, Jill, could you please add anything additional that you'd like to?
Sure. We're going to move in this mic a lot, I feel like. Hi, thanks for coming. I wanted to say that to everybody. I was obviously, as we just said, Walmart. So pretty much my entire adult life, I worked for the biggest retailer in the world. And it gave me lots of experiences, and it gave me lots of things as far as life skills. So when people say, I'm having a bad day, I say, do you want a story that I could tell you about Walmart? I mean, you guys see the pages, People's Walmart. I mean, I've had lots and lots of experience with people, the community, and just being able to, get to know every town we've lived in. I was in 13 stores in my almost 20 plus years there. I had to get to know 300 plus people in every single one of those stores, get to know the community people, Chamber of Commerce people, all of the county commissioners, and all the things that you do because you're an essential business in a town, sometimes the size of Missoula, sometimes the Seattle area. Those experiences obviously were great for me, but I really wanted to come back and do this. What's important for me about that is that I worked my way up in the company, so I started as an hourly associate, even with a college degree. So I kind of was like Ryan, I started it just to have a job during college, and then my college didn't help me. All the work-life experience that I got from that took me to become a store manager. So I was an hourly supervisor. Well, I was just a regular associate, then I was an hourly supervisor, and then I became an assistant manager and a co-manager, and my husband and I were both doing that job 40, 60 hours a week with 2 kids. So it's nice to have a break and have something not so much. As I said, I have 2 jobs here because I think working that 40 to 60 is something that I was kind of used to. So I do manage the Ace Hardware down store at Darlow's currently. I do it in the morning, and I do it when I'm on my lunch at the treasurer's office currently. As Mary stated, we both do the same job. We both work in the office. I think that we're both qualified in that way. I feel like with Mary still being there and deciding to retire, I think that it's great that one of us will be there to have the experience and get the knowledge from Mary before she takes her happy retirement that she's very excited for, which I can understand. So I just think that the training that I've had makes this really easy for me because our budget is not near 80 million, and I'm looking forward to having that experience, and the opportunity is something different than Walmart. So thank you.
So I'm going to keep Jill up here, and we're going to just go through the questions with her, and then we'll bring Mary up and ask her the same questions.
I can get a minute, okay.
You don't get a minute.
I can do this.
What are the primary reasons you're running for this position?
Well, when we decided and saw that Mary was going to retire, and Mary decided and told us that she was going to, I really wasn't even going to consider it if Mary was going to run again. Just because the office with her in it, we're there and cohesive and doing what we're doing. So when she decided that she was going to retire, that's when I started considering it. I had a conversation with my husband. I'm not really a big political person, and he kind of is. So I was, I didn't want to get involved in that in the community I grew up in. Sometimes I've had a lot of people say to me, who's Jill Betts? Well, I know it's hard. If you've known me my whole life, no one knows my last name, even though I've been married for 17 years. So that part is difficult as far as running. But I work in the office currently, and I obviously have the experience. I'm not going to go back into that a whole lot. But I grew up here, and I love the people here. And so I really just want to be able to do a job that I really like and be able to do it for a long time. I'm young, I'm only 42 years old, and I'm not looking for retirement for 20 years. So I plan on staying in the office if I'm elected, and I plan on running again in the next 4 years and the next 4. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jill. What local organizations, community involvement do you participate in, and what national memberships do you have?
I thought that was when we were taking it away.
Oh, we didn't. We'll go ahead and answer.
Okay. So I've only been back living here for 3 years, and as I said, I have 2 kids, and I work 2 jobs, and Mary does too. She works 2 jobs and has kids, and for me, I do my stuff with my kids, so I really haven't gotten involved in a lot of the community activities here. A lot of the time, my kids take me to sporting events. My daughter's in high school this year, and she plays all 3 sports. She plays basketball, volleyball. She does track and field. In the summertime, she works. She babysits right now full-time, but she wants to have a job full-time, so I'm busy with her. She's getting her driver's license this year, though, so hopefully I won't have to be driving her around. My son loves to wrestle. It's super involved to have kids that are really involved, and so it's very hard to take that spare time that you have with them when you're not working. That's one of the reasons why I actually decided to quit Walmart and a job that paid me that well and gave us lots of opportunities so that I had that time with my kids, because we've just missed that, me and my husband both, our whole lives. That was one of the reasons we moved here. So not saying that I don't want to be involved in those things, and I definitely will try to, but at this point right now, I feel like my work-life balance and my family is important, just like the community is. But I would like to see or be approached if there's something that there could be, because I really don't know a whole lot about, besides the stuff that I know, VFW and the stuff like that I don't qualify for. So I would take anybody's opinion afterwards, or talk to you if there's something that I could do for the community. Thanks.
All right, we have one last one for Jill. What are the most important problems in your office, and how do you plan on solving them?
So I don't really feel like we have a lot of problems in the office. Like I said, I feel like Mary's done a great job. What I see for the community, and it's been brought up in a commissioners meeting, it's been brought up a lot, is all the subdivisions and people that are moving here. And I don't know if you guys understand how that affects our office, but Montana requires now that each resident that buys property or lives here and is a property owner has to have 2 proofs of residency to be able to register vehicles. So that means motorhomes, fifth wheels, all their vehicles, if they are a resident of a subdivision, if they want to register their vehicles and stuff here, they have to prove residency. And that's become a quite hot topic. Like I said, as it got brought up in a commissioners meeting as well. And I feel like that is something that we in our office and as a treasurer need to make sure that we communicate to the community, so it doesn't need to be like that. I'm welcome for more people in the community. I think my kids like the opportunity of having more people here. I know that that's a really subject that people don't want to talk about, but that's what I feel right now is probably the biggest controversy of sorts that the community has with when someone comes in and they want to register their vehicle and they have to have these proofs, and we're just following what the law is. And that causes some heat, and that causes sometimes for them to take it personally, like it's us doing that to them when it's just the law. So I think right now that's probably what I see as being the most challenging part of what's going to be upcoming. So thank you.
Mary, your turn. So the first question, as you're walking up, what are the primary reasons you're running for this position?
I've had been the opportunity to have Mary and Claudia teach me some of the balancing procedures, and I love that part of the job, and I want to be able to have control of it and be able to do more of that part of the job. I'm running because I like to further my knowledge in things, although you can't be very sedentary in our positions. There's always something new, there's always a new law, but I want to serve the public and I want to move forward. Thank you.
organizations and community involvement do you participate in, or national memberships do you have?
I kind of touched on the MASBO and the Clerk and Recorders Associations. As far as community involvement, I'm not a very good sitter, so any of the games, if my kids aren't out on the court, I'm offering in serving the food, flipping burgers at the football games, always up in any, like I said, any sedentary time. I like to get up and help others. I have quite a few friends. One in particular was in our office the other day and said that she needed to hang her blinds on her porch. And I'm like, what time? We'll go do it. And that's enjoyable to me, working and helping with people. So I try to hit a lot of social things, and if there's a need, the skate park the other day, I was offered to help serve hot dogs, burgers. And every year for 30 years, I flipped burgers in the Catholic booth. I'm not gonna lie. And I love it. And I'll do 3, 4, 5 shifts. So I do love people, and I love intertwining with them and working with them. Thank you.
So Mary, what are the most important problems in your office, and how do you plan on solving them?
I agree with Jill. We have a really tight office. There are, the issues with some of the laws of people moving in. What I would really like to do, though, is I'd like to become cohesive with all the other departments involved, the clerk and recorders, the planning, so that we can kind of help each other and just make everything easier if we can know what's important on their end. Again, kind of make everybody happier and more cohesive together, the whole, not really necessarily the district court and the justice court, we aren't involved, but that second floor of the courthouse, and just have all of us, complement each other and just really make this, it'd be fun for people to go, man, Mineral County, they've got it together. Look how good they work together. Look how accomplished things they accomplish. And I think that would be just amazing. Thank you.
All right, that concludes the Mineral County Treasurer and School Superintendent candidates. We are going to roll right into the House District 14, and we have one candidate, Denley Loge, here. Come on up, Denny.
And again, thank you everyone for coming. This is a great opportunity. I'm Denley Loge, for those that don't know me. There are quite a few people probably do know me. I graduated from high school in St. Regis in 1968. My parents moved here in 1964. My dad got allergic to grain dust, and we had to move out of the grain country. And since then, I've been involved with the family ranch, raising cattle. I was in 4-H in the high school days. I went on to college, got a Bachelor of Arts in Geography in Missoula, and I was also certified in secondary ed. During the summers while I was working to pay for the college, which I did pay for myself with no give back, I started working construction, and that was kind of the love of my life. And I worked road construction for 17 years for private contractors, and I was also staying at home and doing some of the ranching as it allowed. But in 1986, I started buying the ranch from my parents, and so I needed to be around all the time. So I went to work for the Highway Department, MDT, and I started as a temporary driver up on Lookout Pass, and I ended up spending in my time of work 22 years on Lookout Pass and 6 years here in Superior. I was a section man when I retired. Many of you probably remember the road service that we gave was good service then. I have to question it a little bit now sometimes because you can do that when you retire. And during some of the time back when I worked construction, actually I was up at Prudhoe Bay one of the winters. I was one of the ice road truckers. They didn't show me on TV, but I had that experience. But after I retired, or looking into retirement, I decided that I needed to get into politics just because the fellow that was running pulled out of the race. And so I got into the legislature, and one of the things there that I've got the experience professionally now. I've been chairman of the Transportation Committee for 2 terms. I've been on the Transportation Committee for 3 terms. I've been on the Fish, Wildlife, and Park, or Fish and Wildlife Committee for 3 terms, and then I've also been on Business and Labor for 3 terms. So that kind of covers my professional background. Actually, part of the time when I was as a snowplow driver, I was chairman of the snowplow drivers statewide. And during that time, I know people talk about unions, and unions are killing the world. But I took a different flavor into that as chairman, and I didn't defend the workers if they were poor workers. And we turned things around so that the workers were responsible. If they were doing the job, they stayed better. That's one of the things, that's why I can't condemn the unions if you do it right. But that was another part of my sort of a management skill that I took on while I was working in the highway department. Thank you.
Do you have the other ones?
Yep.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead? You can go ahead and read those off.
And okay, this question, the primary reasons I was running for this office. One of the things, I think you all see me. You know that I'm one of your neighbors. I'm one of the workers that worked in the county. I worked in Sanders County a lot. So I'm one of you. And that's one of the main reasons why I ran in the first place. I thought when I got involved, somebody locally that knows all the problems of everyone, and has had those same problems. And I also, when I was in grade school, I had a little bit of a temper, and I would kind of flare at everything. Something happened in high school, and it just snapped and it went away. And sometimes people see me in meetings and they say, well, you don't care. You just sit there and you're calm. Well, I learned that. After the high school days, I learned to be calm, and I can go and talk to people, and I can get things done because I talk to people and I work through and work for solutions. Just like on the farm, you have to look for the solutions. And that's what I am, is I'm a solutions person. And I think the other thing is, one of the reasons why I need to go back for the position is I've made connections. I can go and talk to the lieutenant governor. I can talk to the secretary of state. Just yesterday, I was out at Shyrock. They're having some problems with DEQ. I went out there yesterday. I called the director of DEQ and gave him the number of Shyrock and to try and take care of those problems. St. Regis had a problem. The floodplain got raised in St. Regis, and Ken Jasper was having some problems with permits. I called DEQ, and the director gave him a call the very same day. And that's, I'm here to work for you. And that's what I always have been doing, is trying to work for you. It's not a personal thing to try and gain something for myself. And that's why I feel I need to go back, because there's a lot of unfinished business. And I'm the one that takes that personally and does it for you. And someone said to me, well, you go back, this is your last term, you won't be accountable. I go into the grocery store. Follow me there. Sometimes it's an hour and a half before I get out. And that's an accountability. Whether it's my last term or not, I still go to that grocery store. So I have that accountability, and I'm not going to change. I haven't changed in 6 years. I'm not going to change in 2. And I like to talk anyway. So that's where part of that accountability comes from. Thank you.
Move on.
Since I keep talking, here I am. Okay, local organizations, community involvement, and I think everybody that sees me, you're probably a little surprised that I have a sport coat on instead of a Hawaiian shirt. I'm involved in so many community things that I actually, this is what I put in the newspaper, and I'll kind of go down the list just because I might forget a few, but I'm on the Mineral and Sanders Forest Collaboratives, and we've done some really good things. We brought a lot more timber sales back to Mineral County, and it's that involvement and talking and working with the Forest Service people. I'm on the Mineral County Resource Advisory Committee, and I'm actually chairman of that. That's the RAC committee, and we take care of some of the Title II funds that come back to the county for projects. Murphy Creek was an example of one of those projects that for the county spending some of those funds. I was past chairman, it's been a few years ago, of the Lutheran Church in town for a few years, and I've been on the planning board since it started in Mineral County. I've been on the planning board for 48 years. So a lot of you who are living on a subdivision, I was involved in that subdivision. in the approval of that, probably. So some of the mistakes, yeah, I'll take some blame. We did things a little differently in the past, but 48 years I've done that. I'm on the Mineral County Performing Arts Council, and we just had a concert not long ago. I'm on the Region 2 Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Citizens Advisory Committee, and that's trying to bring some of the concerns that the Mineral County sporting community and hunting community has, bring those concerns to the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. I've been in the University of Montana Alumni Band for 30 years. I was one of the initial people in that band. I'm on the Mineral County 4-H Council, and dealing with fundraisers, I've sold, and I talk about Hawaiian shirts, the 4-H has raised over $8,000 on my shirts through the years. So that's partly why I'm known for the Hawaiian shirts. Plus, I like to wear them. They're comfortable. I've been involved in the Mineral County Republican. I'm actually the only precinct person in the county. We've had a little debacle here lately. But I was Missoula County Farm Service Agency. I was one of the committeemen for 8 years, which is as long as it's allowed. I was on the Mineral County Soil Conservation Board for 16 years. I had to give that up when I got elected to the legislature. And I was on the Private Land Public Wildlife Council for 12 years. That's with Fish, Wildlife, and Park. It's a governor's appointment. It was determined that I couldn't be on that board as a legislature. So this last year, nobody knew that until the lieutenant governor dug into that. So now I'm just advisory, but I still go to those meetings. And then one of the interesting things is I was on the very first rugby team in Montana in 1968 at the university, and then in 1976 we formed the Missoula Maggots, and I was on the original team. I actually played rugby in New Zealand and England and the Bahamas. So a little information, just a little trivia, and I'm done on time. The next question we have is what are the most important problems in your office, and how do you plan on solving them? When you get dealing with the state, we have a lot of problems that we have to deal with. And I know one of them that everybody's pretty concerned with. The property taxes are skyrocketing, and now with the higher prices of land, and this is something we are going to have to deal with, and I can't say I have the answer. I know we're going to be working very hard on that. The whole tax structure in Montana really needs kind of an overhaul, and a lot of people have different ideas on how to achieve it. But it's one of the things we're going to be working on. Like I say, I don't have the answer. I don't know anyone who does have the one set answer, but that's part of the reason I need to go back is because I'm one of those that likes to help work on finding resolved problems. We have housing problems, which relates to jobs, and that's one of the things. I know sometimes they like to throw money at it from the government, but to me, it's a private sector situation that's going to fix the problem, because sometimes you throw the government money at a house and there isn't the pride in the ownership, and so we need some houses for the working person, and that may take some zoning changes that, of course, we don't have zoning here, but some structure changes in even the subdivision regulations that say, let's maybe put up a fourplex or a duplex on that piece of property so we get more square footage and without paying that big exorbitant price for that acre of ground. And that's maybe one way to start leaning into it. Jobs, the economic development we have resources in this state that we are not able to tap because of some of the regulations. And I will say our lieutenant governor is digging into a lot of those regulations herself, trying to clean up the ones that are unnecessary. But some of the mining, like up around Libby, the regulations state that the water coming out of a mine has to be cleaner than the natural water that was coming out of the mountainside already. So those are the regulations that need to be cleaned up. We need responsible resource extraction, but it's got to be responsible too. We love our clean water, we love our clean air. So those are some of the things we have to work at. Recreation marijuana was just passed by initiative. It was kind of thrown at the legislature, and we had to come up with a real quick set of rules, and they're far from perfect. That's another thing we're going to be doing. We're going to be reviewing that. That's part of a problem of an initiative that gets thrown at the legislature with all the details worked out. So that's another one. We're working. We've done a lot this last session. We did a lot for technical education to try and help get the schools. So we're bringing back some of the welding classes, and we're putting a stress back even on secondary ed, giving some money in to get technical ed. And I blame a little bit my parents' generation. It was, you should go off to college. And technical jobs were sometimes second rate, but now we're seeing we need the plumbers, we need the electricians, we need everybody to get out and do that technical work. Another thing we have to deal with, and I had a bill this last time, but electric cars get a free ride going down the road. They don't pay a road use fee. And we're going to be seeing a lot more of those come. And that, I had a bill, but it got hijacked by some senators, and they made the price way too high, and the governor vetoed it. But the idea was to put some money directly into road use fees, so they're paying their fair share too. So that's a couple of the problems we'll be working on. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Denley. With that, we are to the point where we're going to take a 15-minute intermission. We're going to go ahead and start with the unopposed and appointed positions and just give a brief opportunity for them if they would like to say something for the ones that are here. We'll start with Roman. Do you want to share a few things?
Hi, everybody. This is the first time I've been unopposed, unless a last-minute person does. Okay, so I can be more relaxed. We're talking about law enforcement tonight, so back on the highway patrol one night I pulled over this drunk, and he was actually a very quick-witted drunk for being intoxicated. I said, geez, your eyes look a little bloodshot. Have you been drinking? Officer, your eyes look a little glazed. You been eating donuts again? So when I started out as commissioner in 2011, I had big ideas. Let's get a UPS built out at the airport for delivery packages. Let's get Felstead to make a dump out at Tarkio, new landfill, blah, blah, blah. And then you get in the middle of the weeds here and you find out that it's a lot harder to make change, and there's rules and regulations you didn't even know about. So now I'm more of a realist, and I've been in here a while though, and I know now that county our side, only 7% private land to tax. We need networking, and we need influence, and we need the help of other folks higher up. So the last 4 presidents of MACO, which is the Montana Association of Counties, the presidents have all been from the east. One was from Prairie County, Terry, Montana, Forsyth, Montana. The next one was Sidney in Richland County, and the current one is Miles City, Custer County. So I got a call from a Valley County commissioner who said, you know, Roman, we need somebody from the west finally to be the president of the Montana Association of Counties. Would you be willing to run? I want to nominate you, but... So anyway, I'm currently the vice president. They call it moving through the chair. So I've already been elected, and now this September I will become the president. So I'm really looking forward to being the president because, well, first of all, when he said, can you do that? I said, we're too small. I can't afford to be flown to Washington, D.C. and going to the Western Governors Conference and the Western Interstate Regional meetings, and that's where this influence and networking comes in I'm talking about, but we don't have the budget here in Mineral County. So he said, well, don't worry about it because the association, MACO, all 56 counties, they pay these other presidents have been getting paid to go do it. Why not you do it? So this September, I'll be the president of MACO, which will be interesting because I'm hoping that we're going to have a lot of issues in this little county that we have. So I'll be representing the whole state. Over east, they've got their issues like the sage grouse, the American Prairie Reserve and the buffalo, and the ranchers are being pushed out. But we've got ours here. We've got the wolves, and now the grizzly bear that we're going to bring in here. And, you know, the grizzly bear just isn't going to be a problem for health and human safety, but it's also going to impact our ability for our timber sales because it'll be one more wrench they can throw at the wall, the lynx, the wolverines, and now the grizzly bear. So we won't be able to cut another stick of wood, which this county has survived for the last 100 years off of the timber industry. And those jobs produce a multiplier effect of saw shops, diesel, tire repair, etc. So we can't afford to have another problem thrown our way like that. So I agreed to do it, and I'll be going to D.C. more, hopefully networking more, and I hope that I can help Mineral County because there's a lot of problems we're going to have with our forest management issues and our new growth that we're experiencing, and we only have 4,400 people here. And, like you heard, people can get paid more to go to Missoula, and we need to maintain a sheriff's office, we need to maintain a courthouse, we need to provide services for everybody, and the property taxes are given to us by the state, so we actually don't set the taxes, they assess it. We collect them, the treasurer collects them, Fitz used to collect them and got complained at, but you didn't have anything to do with setting them. Thank you very much.
All right. Kim, would you like to say a few things?
Here as well. All right, so I am Kim Taron. I moved to Mineral County, Montana in about 2002 from Utah. I immediately found an opening at the Justice Court working part-time in 2003 and have now been there for off and on for about 13 years. So I've got a lot of experience in Justice Court. I've been sub-judge for Del Magone for the last 8 years that he's been in office. And more recently, in late December, January, there were some issues with Del's health, and so I have stepped in and have been filling in his position and doing all the court stuff. I really enjoy the legal field. I knew since I was just a young kid in junior high and high school that that's what I wanted to pursue. I did start school as a paralegal when I graduated, but then I got married and had children and kind of put that things on hold for a little bit. So I'm really excited to be able to fill this position, running unopposed, hopefully. I know it sounds like there's still some time, so I hope no one's getting any bright ideas out there. But I look forward to gaining more knowledge, going to some schools, and serving the community. I think I will be a very fair and just justice of the peace, and I look forward to meeting more of you and learning more about you. Even though I've been here 20 years, my focus has always been my kids, and So I don't know many people in the community, and I'm hoping to get that opportunity to serve you as well. So I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Deborah Jackson.
My name is Debbie Jackson, and I'm an attorney, and I hold 2 licenses, one in California and one in Montana. And I've had the privilege of appearing before Justice of the Peace, Kim Taron. She's one of the judges that I do appear in front of, and also I appear in front of the district court judges. We have 5 out here, believe it or not, and they rotate and come in all the time. Well, I'll talk a little bit about me. I hate this part. I have, let's just say, well over 40 years of legal experience. I began as a legal secretary. I moved into the Orange County District Attorney's Office as a paralegal. I had 13 years in homicide. I know my dead bodies when I see one. And 24 years experience as a lawyer prosecuting crime. My life's simple. I take pleasure in my church, my family, and my friends. And Mineral County is my friend. I love Mineral County. I love the lifestyle, the beauty of our state, which is only surpassed by the kindness and the gentleness and the values of its people. You are Mineral County, and you're why I came to this location in 2015. I never experienced the love of people. People in California didn't love each other. They didn't even know. I lived next door to people I didn't, for 30, 40 years, I didn't even know their name. I came here, I felt the warmth. Keeping this Montana lifestyle for our grandchildren, where they can run freely, play in the woods, without criminals lurking behind trees, is my goal. I want them to keep the values of Montana. I want them to grow up like I grew up in the 50s. I want them to have the values that I was given. That's my passion. That's my goal. In acting on this goal, in the courtroom I've been called tough but fair. I think that's what justice is. Sometimes we have to be tough on our kids. And, you know, it doesn't feel real good. There's many times I go home at night and I am just feeling down because you've been tough on somebody. But being fair is the right thing to do for them. They have to learn. And I'm going to fight for these values in my battleground, the courtroom. And I love Mineral County, and I thank all of you.
All right. So we had to select some questions that the candidates could respond to. There are a lot of good questions, and it was tough. The group was looking for questions that could be answered by all equally, and there weren't any questions for the treasurer position, so we're going to give them a few minutes to close when it's their turn, and then we have one for Denley. So the first 3 questions I'm going to read are for sheriff, and you each get 2 minutes to respond. Okay. First question. Administrative experience is extremely important for the person who is selected sheriff. Could you please expand a bit on what kind of background you have in this area? Yeah, go ahead. Let's do with that same word.
Here I am, I'll go first. So ultimately, in my career, just kind of like Jill, I started out after high school in Walmart. I quickly became a department manager, managing 3 to 4 departments, several employees. I then went to college and got an associate's in golf course management, and I was a assistant golf professional at the Mission Mountain Country Club. It has since changed its name to something else because they're not country clubs anymore. There, I managed several employees. I gave golf lessons. I did merchandising. I gave golf lessons. All in all, being able to budget myself and not making that much money. I believe I made $1,100 a month. So budgeting was a giant thing for me, not having much money. And now that I've been a patrol sergeant, I manage my guys. My guys call me 24/7. I answer my phone for them. I have answers for them. And I mean, I support the FTO program. I'm currently the only field training officer in Mineral County that's certified to do so. Thank you.
Wayne, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I'm good.
Thanks.
Administrative duties for law enforcement are extremely important. Began that in 2011 when I was promoted to a region commander. My first assignment was an unincorporated town of over 100,000 people. I ran 42 deputies and 5 sergeants and 3 personnel, along with the region budget. Budgeting overtime, budgeting fuel, and it went on from there. Every region, patrol support commander, administering several units, K9, motor, procurement unit where I'm buying vehicles, managing budgets of 1.5 million for vehicles. Since 2011, that's been my focus. There's a different skill set when you're out there taking calls day to day, but there's another skill set from sitting behind the desk, finding grants, maintaining grants, and paying bills and buying equipment. And that is extremely important in a small agency. And that's where my biggest strengths are at. Thank you.
Still a lot to bring us down, aren't
Yes.
When I was promoted in 1987, I had to write my first budget, and boy, was that a monumental task. And I was scared of it. I'm no longer scared of budgets. That was a $10 million budget for the investigation narcotics unit out in Belle Glade, Florida. I had a team of 20 deputies, and you do have to schedule or plan for everything. Cars, uniforms or lack of uniforms, equipment, anything that might go on a deputy. It actually cost over $100,000 from start to finish to hire a new deputy in the first year. And I'm sure that holds true today. That was my number back in 1987. So when I brought a new deputy on, I was looking at $100,000. As I went up the ranks, every single time, because they found out I could do budgets, I wound up writing a budget for the organized crime unit, for the hostage negotiation unit, for the special response team, for internal affairs. I got tired of writing budgets. I really wanted to do police work, but management is so important, because if you forget to budget something, it's going to take your whole unit down. The one thing I can say, every single budget I wrote, I was able to return money back to the agency, so it went back to the county. And I plan on doing that here. It has to be realistic. I'm not going to ask for the moon. I'm not going to ask for a helicopter. But I may ask for a dog. I don't know. I'll have to look at the budget and see if we can afford a dog here, because we do need a dog. I'm looking at retired people for that.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead and stay up here. I'm going to go in your group. The next question. As sheriff, how would you ensure that deputies are responding effectively to domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking to create safety for the victims and hold offenders accountable?
This is where investigation takes precedent, and people need to be taught how to investigate domestic violence, investigate almost any crime, even violent crimes, nonviolent crimes, properly. My plan is I am going to respond without telling anyone to these scenes to make sure the deputies are actually doing them properly. Design training so that they understand exactly what a victim goes through. If you do not help the victim, you're also not helping your case. You've got to get all the evidence collection together, or else you lose cases. You give them to the county attorney, and they cannot prosecute properly unless you've done your investigation properly, unless you've interviewed those people of domestic violence properly. Am I forgetting something in this? I have 1 more minute to go, or probably 30 seconds at this point. So it all comes down to investigation and learning how to handle people properly. My negotiation background, domestic violence, my training in that, and what I used to teach is all part of the package that I am going to train deputies in. It will not happen overnight. It will be inch by inch. Thank you.
How would you ensure deputies are responding effectively to domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking to create safety for victims and hold offenders accountable?
I'm going to put this back up here. I guess I'm holding it. The Mineral County Sheriffs right now respond. That's mainly what our calls for service are, our PFMAs and physical assaults. Our guys do a pretty decent job with the training that they've had. We have a sergeant in place to make sure that any training or deficiencies are noted at that level. I and the sheriff both approve the reports, so we're watching what's going on there as well. We've invested a large amount of money in the last year in body cams, car cams, so we can actually be a third set of eyes through their cameras. And that's how we're maintaining and ensuring that the citizens of Mineral County are getting service that way. And, you know, we forget to praise our partners in all this, the victims advocates that are looking out for our victims, the county attorneys that are also prosecuting the cases, and a relationship that we have with them, that if they need something, we're there to ensure that whatever doesn't get done gets done, and we get these people off the streets. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and read it to you. As sheriff, how would you ensure that deputies are responding effectively to domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking to create safety for the victims and hold offenders accountable?
So I'll kind of do this reverse. Holding people accountable for their offenses, you need to work closely with the county attorney's office and make sure that you have strong cases and they're being held accountable through the courts. As far as responding and keeping people accountable that way, as far as deputies, I mean, I don't believe in micromanaging, showing up on scenes without the knowledge of your deputies. I think that breeds deception inside your agency, and I believe holding people accountable for sure. And with holding people accountable is you hire qualified people, you give them qualified training, and you trust them with the work that they do. If there's deficiencies come from the county attorney's office, and you can further training. But Mineral County's been in crisis mode. I think everybody knows that. We respond to, Monday I responded to 20 calls per service that my patrol car drove to in 12 hours. I can't effectively take 20 calls and do a 6, 7, 8 hour investigation. So we need to get a reserve program. We need to get reserves in our cars. We need to get reserves qualified to take calls and assist us in performing our job. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll give you the next question. This is the last one for the sheriff's candidates. Knowing that the budgets are as tight as they are, what strategies do you have for providing continuing education training for advancement to help make them better officers? What strategies do you have for creating opportunities for professional development? Go ahead.
I'm going to bring Gretchen on as a reserve deputy for sure. There's a lot of grants throughout the state, throughout the nation. I have investigated and done a lot of time and effort in trying to get a drug detective inside Mineral County. I don't know if you guys know fentanyl's a thing. We have a lot of fentanyl going through this county. 2 weeks ago, I got over 2,000 fentanyl pills and 4 pounds of methamphetamine. That's one car, guys. One car. I have the structure, I have the knowledge, I have the people behind me as far as DEA, DCI, Northwest Drug Task Force. I know those are acronyms, but those are federal officers, state officers, county officers that fight the war on drugs. We need a dog here. We need an effective dog handler with that dog, and that's what's going to combat the war on drugs. Thank you.
Wayne, same question to you. What are strategies for providing advancement in professional development?
Well, first and foremost, it's budget control, and we've fought very hard to get our jail open. In 2018 and 19, this county spent over $200,000 to other counties housing our bad guys. So it was imperative we got the jail up. The jail's up and running. We've since partnered with the United States Marshal Service, where we house anywhere between 7 and 10 inmates for the feds. This month's billing alone, $25,000 coming in from the feds, just from the U.S. Marshal Service. So helping bring revenue into the budget will help open up the budget for advanced training, so we can start getting some of this stuff. It's all stair steps, folks. You got to get the little things. And the dog issue, I am not sold on the dog issue. We had a dog here right before I came here, and we stole it for some reason. I'm not sure. Maybe Ryan can fill you in on why that dog wasn't used more. I mean, the drug problem's been the drug problem for years coming through 90. So I'm not sure dogs are our best source of revenue and budget usage. Thank you.
Budget strategies.
Yep.
All right, we can handle that.
Strategies for professional development.
The best strategy for a budget is to have a budget like Palm Beach County did, and everyone can go to school. That's not realistic. Here, you're going to have to look at grants. You're going to have to go visit Denley and Helena and the people up there in the House and ask for money for Mineral County. And then at that point, I'll be asking the county commissioners for money for the sheriff's office. So I'm planning on going up to Helena and, I guess, politicking, so to speak, to receive money for this county and betterment of the whole county, not just the sheriff's office. DEA, I did graduate from the DEA class, narcotics class, And they will help you if you speak to the right people for funding for dogs, for training. You just have to ask the right questions. And then, of course, my training certificates, I am planning on submitting them to post to the training, the people that supervise our certificates, and becoming an instructor here, and also adding that instructor certificates to my repertoire for Montana to help these officers here, which include investigations and just general management and basic law enforcement. All of that needs to be addressed that I can bring to the table.
We're going to roll into 2 minutes of closing for the treasurer and superintendent position. Jill, we're going to have you go first.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do the right spot.
No, I think so. Anyways, once again, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. I really didn't think that there was going to be this big of a turnout, and like I said, I've just moved back here, so there's a lot of people that don't know who I am, so I think that gives a lot of difference to people when they see a sign and go, who's that? I mean, I do it all the time. You're on the highway and you're like, I don't know who's running for that. Who's that person? So I think it's an opportunity for all of us to be able to show you what our personalities are like and what we plan on doing. And I just really am excited to have this experience and have the county and the community just support me and are here for me. And it's been really great, especially the last couple of days. So I just hope that all the voters in Mineral County make informed decisions based on experiences and on who's the best person for the position. Thank you.
I want to thank you guys for all coming. It is an experience because I'm not very used to this kind of thing. And I agree, make your best informed decision that you can make. And I appreciate all the customers and all the people that we deal with and coworkers. And I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
All right, it's up to you, Denley. We have one question. So what would it take, and I know this is a topic that's bounced around, but what would it take to construct wildlife fences along the interstate?
Denley, you got the easy one.
Money! That's the whole topic. It's being discussed, and it has been discussed, and I don't know if folks are aware, but back in the early 2000s, we had a Mineral County group that got together, and we designated what were the wildlife corridors that the animals were using. We ground truthed it with roadkill data. We had the biologists come out here. We had landowners. Phil Donnelly was in on it, and some of the others that have land at the Jensens. So we have some of those areas designated, but it's all about money. And I keep asking that same question, and they want to incorporate some of those fences into some of the projects that come up, like they did up above Evero. Of course, they have a lot easier time getting money there, but they don't want to really strike out on their own without having a project in the area. But that data will let them know where a good underpass, wildlife underpass could be, or an overpass. Most of the time it's the underpass, and you can funnel the animals, and I know they did this in Colorado in the 70s, but when we were working on Lookout Pass and they were going to fix the highway, fix some of those bridges and redo the highway, there's a bridge at the mile marker 2 and another one at 5.5 or 5.2 below the rest area. And if they demolish those bridges that are not being used for the Milwaukee and put an underpass under that, they could have saved about $500,000 on each one of those structures by just demolishing and putting an underpass. But they didn't have the right wildlife pictures to see how they needed to construct the proper crossing. So it's all about money, and it's about getting organized, and I keep pushing that they have to get all those pictures in place, because there is another project coming there now, but it just boils back to money, because they do want to save lives and wildlife conflicts.
With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up tonight's forum. On behalf of myself, Mineral County residents, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that helped organize it. Don, thank you for the timer. Thank you to the candidates for your willingness to serve and put yourself out there to serve your community. And thank you for everybody that attended tonight. I think it's important to be informed. This is really a positive crowd, lots of people, so it's exciting. Thank you very much. There is a forum.
We have a list of people to thank. Do you have that list?
I do have that listed. I'm one of my notes. Mary Furlong, yes. Superior High School, St. Regis Senior Center, Alberton High School, Hazel Cromwell, Darlow's, George Bailey, Monty Turner, Mary Furlong for videotaping, thank you. Mary Jo Berry, Jackie Callison, and Diane McGowan as well.
And thank you.
Thank you very much.